Weep or shout while we do it.
Yes.
My goodness,
Yes.
Ava, this is yet another gift from you. We all know you as I think that a director of films that we have felt were more intimate, and this is an epic story. It's a story that's very important to all of us as Americans, and you have a big budget, I'm assuming, a bigger budget than middle of nowhere. So let me ask you this, did you run towards this opportunity, or did you have to be talking to it?
Well, so I'm here. First of all, thank you for coming. No, this project began and ended for me with David Oyelowo. I don't think it was something that, he invited me to come on with the project. We worked together on something before. This subject matter is nothing that I ever thought about tackling. I'm more of a kind of black indie hipster romance kind of gal. So trying to tackle Dr. King and deconstruct what that is and think about what the civil rights movie genre is and has been and why I haven't maybe responded to it like I have other genres of films as a film lover, and how I would possibly try to make a film about that I'd be interested in as someone who's not really interested in historical films usually. Was only because I had a partner like David. And yeah, I don't think I would have done it if David wasn't on board, just because I don't think that I could have. I wouldn't have too much fear around it. But when you have just such an exquisite artist as a partner in art, it was just fun and joy every day.
Let me just say this. I have a question for you, Ms. Winfrey. When are you ever going to put your resources behind something you're passionate about?
I don't know. David is the reason I came on board too. David and I became fast friends when we did The Butler together. And he told me that this had been his dream for a very long time. He showed me an audition. That wasn't an audition, just a tape that he had done. And I saw that tape and I said, yeah, I can see King in you. I don't see, it's not quite there, but I can see it's on its way there. And I want to do whatever I can to help you get it there. So that's what got me to say yes.
Okay, so we've got Plan B, we've got Jeremy Kleiner, we've got Dede Gardner. My question to you is, so does the B stand for black? B stands for beautiful. How are you going to sell these movies overseas? That's all you.
Well, we don't believe in the mythology, the false ideology. Certain films are predetermined to succeed in some markets and not others. We've had some specific experiences that have told us that that's not the case, and we have high hopes for this film and many films that will come in its path. So that's the answer to that.
How did Plan B, how did Harpo, how did Cafe, and everybody's path?
They were already on board. And I just, David and Ava said, because I was putting my 2 cents in all the time. And they said, why don't you just join us as a producer? I don't want to do that. I just want to help you get the film made. So they were already, you've been passionate about this. I know you've been holding this as a dream for, 7 years? 8 years?
Yeah, our company is very passionate about the subject matter, and just what an incredibly humbling experience to be part of this with these artists and to be a part in whatever way of telling this story.
Didn't you grow up interested in civil rights?
in my particular case, the figure of Dr. King was very large, and for so many people, and it's just it's astonishing how David was able to capture that essence of that person and leave us all with this feeling. Amazing.
You are an Englishman with Nigerian roots. Where did you connect organically as an actor and then as a citizen with this big moment in our American culture? Where did you connect, and was there a place that you had to untangle?
Well, I have had the privilege to live on 3 continents as a black person. The first place was Europe, England. Then it was back to the motherland, Nigeria, where I lived for 7 years, and now I've lived here for 7 years. And the thing I learned living in Nigeria is exactly what Lorraine Toussaint says in the film, that we are born of kings. And we are a people of deep pride, incredible culture, and indescribable power. And unfortunately, on the continents of both Europe and America, that has been denigrated over time. And I don't think it's any accident that somehow this great man's name was King. And the dots joined in that way for me. And very soon after my wife and I moved to this country, I was told from above that I would play this role.
Wow.
On the 24th of July, 2007. And I couldn't believe it, so I wrote it down. That's how I know the date. The director at the time didn't agree with that higher power. And a process of my birth, my experiences, my faith, time, and these incredible people led me to this moment.
Praise God. Hallelujah.
There's so much to talk about. I want to talk, Carmen and Ava, about music. First of all, let me just say this. Not a stitch was dropped by any actor.
That's right.
I didn't even know they were actors. People were familiar with. You guys put yourselves right there. You channeled, you made yourself available to tell this story. Carmen, Oprah, and David, and that entire ensemble. What an ensemble.
Yes.
But it is to enhance the narrative, to help the story. So beautifully done here. And things that fit or that you wouldn't expect were there, and pieces we've never heard before that were unfamiliar in a larger context. Tell us about choosing music for the film.
Well, there are 3 components of music. I'll talk about Common last, because that story is beautiful. Again, flew here. How many hours from the UK, Common? 12? A lot of hours. A long time, brother? A long time in the plane. Yeah, good. It's to be here with us. So, but yeah, 3 components. The composed music is by a brother named Jason Moran. He's a jazz artist. Again, I'm a MacArthur Fellow, a creative advisor at the Kennedy Center. He's like 33, WonderCon, and so it's his first score.
Wow.
And I did a beautiful job. All the source music here, so all of the old vintage music is curated by this amazing woman who's worked with me on all my films. Her name is Morgan Rose. Ad nauseum every day, 19 songs and ideas of where it goes, and she's exhausted in her research and crate digging and ordering imports and finding deep cuts, and so we choose from there. And then the last is this beautiful original song at the end of the film over the end credits, which is really incredible. Can you tell us the story about it?
Well, I was blessed to be a part of Selma as an actor and experience so much like inspiration and motivation. Getting to meet Ambassador Andrew Young, John Lewis, working with Ava and the cast. Every cast member just brought so much spirit and soul and was so passionate. And getting to hang out with Oprah Winfrey. So all those things inspired me. And it's something about when you really love things, and I really love this project. Like, I love it like with all my heart and soul, so I just wanted to be a part of it in any way. I was like out there talking about it. I didn't know if I was supposed to talk about it early, but I was just like, look, I'm a part of Selma, man. Like, you know, like, that's what it was. So Ava and I talked about doing the song, and one day I was like laying in my bed and I said, I need to call John Legend about this. And he was in London and he called me back. And I talked to him about the film, and we had like a 5-minute conversation, and he was like, I love Ava's work, and yes. And he said, I'm free on one day. I'm touring, I'm free one day. And I gave him these different titles, 3 titles, and the last one was Glory. And he wrote this piano and started singing this song about glory. And from that point on, I just knew what the soul of this movie is and what the soul of the movement is, because we lived it and we got to experience it. So I wrote that song, and we wrote that song, and we also realized that song was really dealing with the present, because at the same token as we were talking about, you know, what was going on in Selma, we could look on the TV and see what was going on in Ferguson. So it just really put everything in perspective for me, and that's just where I wrote it from. And I was just honored to be able to tell my grandmother that I'm a part of Selma, and to bring my daughter to the film and to watch.
I was saying before, this is a big canvas, and you are, you know, you're a filmmaker telling intimate stories, but that seemed to be a lot of the power of what was happening. The way we felt like we were inside the circle with them, whether it was LBJ. I feel like we knew even Wallace more intimately. It became more about strategy. One of the things that really struck me was how it was lit, and how the lighting would evoke emotions, especially in the jail, that scene with you guys from the back, and especially that washed out color somehow from the 60s got you emotionally if you were alive then, and I'm sure it was just beautiful if you weren't alive. And we talked about cinematography. If the man, the shy, epic figure known as Gardner, incredible cinematographer, you know, one of the few African-American cinematographers working consistently at such a beautiful high level. He loves black skin, you know what I mean? He loves our skin in
all its hues.
He loves this skin. And you know, to put Common and David and Omar Dorsey in the same room, right? All these different shades of beautiful black men. It's a light them with the light wrap around and just fall over them. It's really he's a young master. And so I know you hide him, but that's all Bradford Young, and we've collaborated. This is our 4th film together, and so we have a real shorthand. It's a very brother and sister relationship. Very the whole crew is very familial. A lot of our crew members are here. Some of our casts are here. I'm gonna have them come up before we leave to take a bow. But yeah, the lighting. The goal was to try to get into that. I was looking at those Kodachrome pictures from the 60s. beautiful Kodachrome where they have these soft edges and contrast in the middle, and that was what I brought to Bradford, and he made that.
This is for David, this is for Ava and Oprah and Common, and certainly for Dede and Jeremy. Okay, Oprah awakened us to the idea of an aha moment. As you were filming, and from the beginning of this all the way through the journey, did you have a oh shit moment?
We had a particular day. It was in the church, and it was going to be the first time I was going to give a speech. Now, this is the awful thing about playing Dr. King. When you play Dr. King, you have to wrap your head around the fact that at some point you're going to have to throw down a speech. So, this was that day, and we were in the Wheat Street Baptist Church. 500, 600 extras. John Lewis decides to turn up on that day and sit in the front row. And literally, I'm about to give this speech, and Ava goes, okay, and roll sound, and literally she's about to say action. All the lights go out. Every single light. Now, this is after I have taken the opportunity to pray with these 600 people, just to acknowledge where we are and what we're about to do. The lights go out. So, I'm a Christian, and I go a little bit, fire and brimstone. I called my pastor, I was like, look, the devil is trying to kill me. Got me to pray, so I went Christian militant.
Yes.
And, but in the meantime, while I was calming down, we had to break for lunch, because what had happened is a thunderstorm had started, an unforecast thunderstorm had started, which meant that the generator was in danger of being hit by the thunderstorm, so we had to break for dinner early. So we all break for dinner, and the most incredible sky, pink, purple, 2 rainbows in the sky. We eat together, we pray together, we then go outside and see this sky. We know we are in the midst of a divine moment. So much so that John Lewis had to leave. And by the time I came to do this speech, we had been through something together. 600 people had been through something together. And it took me somewhere entirely, I couldn't have done that acting-wise, what we had in that room. So that was my aha moment, the fact that we were being held by elements beyond ourselves.
What do we have? Truthfully, we've been with this movie for a really long time and had many, many conversations about it. And when Jeremy and I met Ava for the first time, we were having lunch, and she got through a lot of niceties and then said, "Why do you think it hasn't been made yet?" And we took a beat to think about it, and then it just dawned on us because it's never had the right director. And we both felt it instantly, and I thought, oh, we're going to make this movie. That's amazing. And that's kind of it. It was that simple. And then not
Was there ever a moment for you where, you had so many people to work with, and sometimes there's depending on your resources, sometimes you have a lot of resources that present particular problems in filming. Sometimes you don't have enough, usually, and that presents another set. But what you did, and I don't even know everybody, you can talk about that, but you gave us this grandeur really by your craft, by the way that you shot and moved people. I have never felt the power of people walking together, and I've been in marches, but you so beautifully put that up. Talk to us about working with so many people at a time, so many people in a room talking at the same time, and nobody going dead.
Thank you.
Well, I don't want to be a shout-out master, but I gotta give a shout-out to, you're talking about having so many people in a room. Like, one of my favorite scenes in the film is when they walk into Richie Jean's kitchen.
Yeah.
And you just have all these brothers and just black suits and peppers and chicken and laughing and doing all these things, and all those crosses. It's a shoot, but it also is just me presenting a hot mess of material to my editor, Spencer Alfre, and saying, "Can you make something?" Borrowing for long periods of time and sit in the dark room together for months and months to craft things together. Thanks, Elizabeth. And all the sticks you guys are. And yeah, so it's just about crafting those things, and I think it was so important to me that in this film it wasn't just Dr. King, but it was really about a movement. So I found myself, really crafting scenes that he had all his crew around him, because he really was a part of a larger strategic group. And so in order to do that, we found ourselves in scenes often with like 6 and 7 people, and trying to figure out, okay, how do we shoot that? When you have actors that are just so in pocket, you so knew who they were, you really became a true family on set. I mean, these guys follow them on Instagram. They hang out in Vegas. That's on my birthday. You and me National all in Vegas. I saw those pictures. But yeah, it's just about creating a vibe on set that allowed us to be one unit. And from there, the camera picks that up. The vibration, I think, that you create that environment on set. And you really work hard to make sure that everyone feels empowered and safe and nourished on set, that stuff is embedded in the image. That's what I believe. And so, it becomes easier. I like to point the camera turn on.
May I say, I think that's what she did best, was nourish every single person who was on set, including the day you had hundreds and hundreds of extras wearing wool clothes in 140-degree heat, walking across that bridge again and again and again. People were there doing it because they felt, first of all, that they were a part of something that was bigger than they. And so many people lived in that town, particularly, and knew other people who were there in the march. Their mothers were there in the march, their aunts were there in the march. I mean, the character that I play, Amy Cooper, everybody knew Miss Cooper, had even Miss Cooper, went to church with Miss Cooper, so the familiar atmosphere was fantastic. But what Ava was able to do was to make everybody feel the sense of connection and to feel how valuable and important it was. And she's that kind of director that makes every single, I watched her do it. I watched her walk through the crowd at every extra, and are you okay? And taking water to her, Ava, somebody else can bring water to the people. Bring the water to the people. Yeah.
This brings up something, and we have to close out of this. I could stay up all night talking, but I just want to get real for a minute and acknowledge the fact that there's lots of places in the nation where this would still be a flashpoint, but shooting in a state where there's a lot of counties in southern Alabama do not recognize Barack Obama as officially the president of the United States. So you've got extras, you got people coming there. There's everybody, there's one thing for us to play murderers and all, because that's what we're equipped to do, but you've got crowds of people where the extras, cultural DNA is not that far removed from the situation. What was that like for anybody? What were the conversations you had with those Caucasian actors, those Caucasian extras who were being asked to do something that it is not their profession, but is so sort of volatile in this period?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the way that I work with those extras, it truly was asking them to help us tell an important story. And in order for us to do that, they had to truly give us that vitriol, give us that rage, and give us that hatred. And so the conversation that I had with them was that you are not doing this, because most of them weren't actors. They were from a small town in Selma. They were in small towns, and they didn't feel that way. And so, yeah, it was inviting them to help us tell a story. In order for us to tell a story, they had to do that. So they had a sense of responsibility to yell mean things. But I remember
one of them said, You really want me to say it out loud?
All right.
You want me to say that word out loud?
Can you say the N-word here? You know, and I know it's uncomfortable, but really, helps tell the story. She's like, yes. So you want me to say the N-word? And I said, yes, the N-word. The real word, not the N-word. It's like, I didn't do that. But, even all the troopers, just going, really asking them to be on board with us, and they did. And when you talk about the state of Alabama, one of the amazing things for me about it is my father is from Lowndes County, Alabama. And so when you talk about aha moments for me, one of the proudest moments of my whole life is when my dad got off work, delivers mail of the mail truck in Montgomery, Alabama. He got off work the night shift and drove down to downtown Montgomery. The streets, his daughter had shut down the streets of the Capitol. And he had a police escort walk him up to the Capitol steps and a little chair for him to sit, and it's just, that's amazing. That's, we talk about the ensemble. Alfre, is it okay if I? Yes. People, I left my little paper over there, but the ones that I saw, Omar Dorsey is here, plays James Lawrence. Thank you for your support for coming out tonight. You came, you were committed to coming on 30 minutes. I hope it's okay to show you a little